Really? Yep, just crushed. There's an austere command. The sword's gonna stick around, but not much else will. Today on Commander Replay, we check out this Phoenix tribal deck and find out if we actually get to cast a Phoenix. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's two great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Otharri Sun's Glory Phoenix Tribal today. Let's take a look at this opener. Oh man, it's all ramp. You know what? We can crack the Hedron Archive for card draw. Oh man, I can't talk. We'll talk about that more in a moment. I'm going to keep this against all better judgment. Hopefully I don't get punished again. The few times I've tried to take this deck out in the past, it has not worked well. I bought a lot of the cards for paper, but they've kind of just been sitting there because I really need to figure out what's going on with the 99 of this deck because it is kind of painful. So anyway, yeah, the last 2 months of my life have been as such. Vacation, COVID, vacation, pneumonia. And both of those attacked my voice pretty hard. Right now I still don't have like great access of my voice, and talking is kind of difficult. True conviction, that's a finisher. So yeah, it's not been a real fun 2 months. Definitely had to power through some of the vacations, not feeling great. And got COVID like the second day of my first vacation, which basically ruined everything. It was a terrible time. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Yeah, I played this Marsh Flats, cracked this Marsh Flats. Let's see what we got in the deck. Alpine Meadow seems like a smart call right here. Sometimes I like to go Mistveil Plains, but this deck is heavily red, and I'd rather get this first dual land going. Soul Ring for opponent. Before all the nonsense started that I just told you about, I've actually been back in voice lessons, and I was going to try to go tonight, and for the voice nerds in the room, I realized that I actually don't have access to my falsetto voice cord. Like, I literally just can't form sound on it. So, basically, any talking out of the higher register of my voice is actually fantastically difficult. Even this register is not... It's not pleasant. But we're going to power through. The Birth of Meletus, you say? We're playing Narci, aren't we? Okay. Yeah, I've seen this one. We saw this one in a video recently. So, let's take a look at our commander. 5 mana, 3/3, Otharri Sun's Glory. Flying Lifelink Haste. Whenever it attacks, you get an experience counter, then create a 2/2 red rebel creature token that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. And then you can pay 4, and tap and untap rebel you control, return Otharri from the graveyard to the battlefield. Today we're going to be trying to avoid Otharri's abilities. Otharri is a really strong commander, like at least A tier amongst Boros commanders, if not all commanders. It's very, very good. It's an army in a can, right? So, you know, I know games don't go that late anymore, but if for some reason you get late into a game with, like, not that much left, you just cast Otharri again, and suddenly you have a board full of creatures, and, you know, in those type of situations, it's a pretty tough thing to beat. Anyway, this deck, we really want to be about the Phoenix Tribal, so we're going to try and avoid using Otharri's power at least until later. You know, we might need it to close the game out, but I don't want this to be just we cast Otharri and do nothing else, and we either live or die by whether Otharri's on the battlefield. Trying to avoid that. That said, like I said before, it hasn't gone well with this deck. The 99 of this deck is very weak. Phoenixes are a very overcosted creature type. There are some decent ones over the past, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, but all the ones from, you know, the previous 20 years of Magic, awful. Well, there's that Mistveil Plains. Did not need another land, but here we are. Probably should have mulliganed on principle. I don't think that... I mean, we just shuffled, right? Yeah, I don't know. Frustrating. Let's get the Hall of Heliod's Generosity out of our hand, just in case. And we'll drop down this Boros Signet. And yeah, like I mentioned, this is a deck that I have sitting around my house that's, like, waiting to be finished. And so, you know, what I'm hoping to glean out of this video today is for my own personal use of, like, I'm trying to figure out what I want the 99 of this deck to look like and, like, you know, what problems I need to solve, right? If I can figure out the problems that I need to solve, then I can reasonably go about solving them. What's that Einstein quote? I'd spend 55 minutes understanding the problem, 5 minutes coming up with the solution. Something like that. So that's what I'm trying to do today. We'll see how it goes. I am nervous about this Narci deck. Saw one of these in the past. You know, it does like Enchantressy type stuff, so it can just get to a point where it's just like you can't interact with this board anymore, and that's a problem. which brings up the question, what do we have for... Sorry, I had to mess with the settings, because Magic Online, whenever it goes through an update, doesn't seem to like to store all your settings. It's kind of annoying. We do have a Tempest of Light, spicy little thing I've been trying to throw into some decks here and there. So my thoughts on this card are as such. Someone posted a really insightful question on Twitter. It was probably a year or two ago, and really got me thinking. Sunbird's Invocation is a sight for sore eyes. Let's play the Mountain, play the Hedron Archive, then play the Arcane Signet, and we'll pass like that. Anyway, this question on Twitter was, what's more important, artifact removal or enchantment removal? And I spent like a day or two thinking about this one. And what I realized is that there will generally be more artifacts on the board, like we see right here, but it only takes one enchantment to really screw everything up, like a Rhystic Study or a Dictate or a Smothering Tithe. There are singularly powerful enchantments, a True Conviction, a Sunbird's Invocation, that can just like take over the game. So as I started thinking about it, I'm like, there's got to be like more efficient. Like, I love Austere Command, I love Farewell, that stuff's great, but at 6 mana, you know, there's a certain stigma attached to it, right? Like, they are board wipes. You don't always want to wipe the board, right? Especially if it's just like one enchantment you need to get rid of. Tempest of Light, you hear that right there? Having trouble forming sound. Tempest of Light, it's a board wipe for enchantments, but it leaves your creatures alone. So if if there's like, at 3 mana, it's this weird line of like, it's essentially spot removal almost, but hits multiple targets. I think like that's kind of how I'm thinking about this. I get it. It's a board wipe for enchantments, but realistically, that's probably going to be killing like maybe 2-3 things on average on the board by the time you cast it. And one, if it's just really bad, right? But, you know, Generous Gift is a 3 mana kill spell, so like even if it's just one you need to get rid of, it's at this very nice like middle ground of hits multiple things but is still cheap mana cost. It's very narrow in what it does, but it's a card that I've just been very interesting to mess around with more. So also they're super cheap. They're like 25 cents, I think. And I think the foils are like 25 cents, and they look great. I may have bought a bunch of them. Anyway, that one will be very helpful. And that wasn't like a meta call. That's just like, I've been trying to stuff this into decks randomly because I think it's cool. I haven't really got to see it on camera yet. Haven't been filming as much for all the reasons of being sick and other things going on. But yeah, hopefully it shows up today. We do have an Austere Command in there, which will be helpful if there's a million enchantments on board. I'm sure that I'm not running enough graveyard removal because I never do. So that'll be a problem against that deck, I'm sure. Yeah. Looks like that'll be a thing. Might have the land. Do we have the land? No Scavenger Ground. Yeah. Someone else is going to have to bring the graveyard removal. It's not great. But yeah, here's a look at the deck. So we see a lot of Phoenixes. 24 creatures in the deck. And there's probably about 21, 22 of them are Phoenixes. Some of the ones that I really like, I think like Lightning Phoenix is one that excites me. Chandra's Phoenix is cool. I've definitely won some standard games with that. Flamewake Phoenix, the 3 mana Phoenixes are pretty interesting because they're aggressively costed, they have flying and haste, which makes them really good for like getting in sword hits and like kind of being a nuisance in the air. There's a Sword of Forge and Frontier, that's a cool one. I mean, are we just going straight? I should read what this does. Okay, it's a protection card. Yeah, just get protection, that's fine. So I'd like to get the Sunbird's Invocation going and see if we can like start triggering that into getting some Phoenixes into play. The question is, if someone just has spot removal to shoot the Sunbird's Invocation, then life will be much worse. Much, much worse. Let's go ahead and cast the Sunbird's Invocation. Looks like we won't be able to make a second play this turn, which is unfortunate. We're just going to have to, like, pray that it comes back. We really need this to stick. We're kind of thin on stuff to do otherwise. At least if we get one of those small creatures, this could be very helpful. I did notice that card draw was an issue in some of the previous outings with this deck. Let's get this tap land in. Seems like a good time to do that. And we'll just tap this out again. And I'll pass like that. Pray that we can get these off. I'm not thrilled about just running True Conviction down there because, like, it's kind of a late game finisher play. You want that to be a surprise. But if we don't draw anything else, then that might be what we're on. Obviously, we can cast the sword. The sword is, like, less likely to find a creature. The True Conviction, decent chance. Decent chance. Kogla and Yidaro. Uh-oh, what's this one do? Gains trample. Fights creature you don't control. We don't have any creatures, so hopefully it won't be one of ours. I imagine it's going to be one of these green things. These lands creatures tend to be very powerful, so getting one of them out of here might be a pretty good... No, they're going trample and haste. Okay, also seems fair. Actually, drawing like a 6-drop Phoenix off the top wouldn't be terrible, because then we could cast 1, get 2, and then kind of leave some of this stuff in the tank, which I like the sound of. I don't really want to like commit our big stuff in there just yet. Okay, they want to get this Planeswalker off the board, and that's not a bad idea. This one does get a little silly. Whenever you're casting on creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless servo. Yeah, it gets out of hand. It's very out of hand. And we'll just finish up the thoughts on the deck here. So my main concern, well, I have a lot of concerns. 1, Phoenixes are overcosted. 2, like, you have 6 mana 3/3s, which just objectively not great. It's a terrible rate on mana. So, like, you're having to cheat the mana cost. Then after you do that, you need to get them pumped up somehow. So we've got, like, Cathar's Crusade and a few other things. But, like, you know, they're all sort of hinged on these key points that, like, they aren't very strong until you get one of these things. And you have the problem of, you need a bunch of these in play. Like, think about how many of these creatures it's going to take to equal a Sun Titan. The number is probably, like, 5 or more. And that's just a lot of mana worth of stuff. Phoenix Tribal is a rough sell, is basically what I'm trying to tell you guys. So we'll see how this one goes. Deep down, I feel like, maybe not. So in my heart of hearts, what I really want is, like, I would like something similar to the Munda deck. I love that Allies deck. It's fun, like, it's sort of unexpected. Most people think that Munda is really bad. I guess we have sort of the opposite thing going here, where everyone knows Otharri is really good, or at least people that have seen it know it's good. But our 99 is kind of bad, where with Munda, the 99 is actually decent, capable of winning games, and Munda by itself is not as bad as you think. You throw a Sword of the Animist on it, and it's got haste, and you wail away at people for a while, getting lands and generating value and doing all the stuff. And there's some ways, you can use Skull Clamp and Temple Bell to kind of pull things off the top with the rally ability there. So in my heart, I would like to get this deck to that level, but I'll be honest, I don't know if that's possible without just focusing on Otharri. A Johnny Steadfast. Man, there's too much promo art in this game now. Like, it is honestly, like, everything's a promo. Saw the Cultivate come down earlier, and, like, it looks great. I'll give you that, but, like, I don't even recognize the cards anymore. If everything special is anything special, I think that's the heart of the question. Thrumming Bird. Yep. The good news is, looks like we're going to get to untap with this Sunbirds. Yeah, Johnny Steadfast gonna pump up the team. Till end of turn, up to 1 target. Nope, they went the -2. Put +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other Planeswalker you control. Yep. So, like, something like that might actually not be a bad idea. Maybe this deck needs a few Planeswalkers. I don't know where we're going to find room for Planeswalkers in this deck, but also a lot of some of the Phoenixes can't block, which is decidedly not great either. But yeah, one of those, like, maybe like a Felidar Retreat also. I'm thinking about ways to get them pumped up, right? You got to have something in play that's going to, like, pump these things up. Otherwise, they're just not going to do a lot by themselves. Iroas is something we can cast, and something that might, like, potentially hit a creature. So I'm excited about that. Let's play our land. We'll cast Iroas and see how it goes. We cracking the Hedron Archive yet? I guess we're not cracking the Hedron Archive yet. Cast Iroas. Pray we get literal anything else. A creature would be nice. There's a lot of 4-drops in the deck, so reasonable chances here. Trigger the Sunbird's Invocation. Dowsing Dagger and Gold Knight Commander. Well, Gold Knight Commander is a finisher, so we're just hitting everything in the wrong order here. Is how this is going. That's how this game is going to shape out. We don't really need more ramp. Like, I liked, Gold Knight Commander is a creature, which I think is what we need more than anything at this point. I'm sad it's not a Phoenix creature, but what can you do? We'll play the Sword of Forge and Frontier. Get another trigger. Phoenix? Whiff. See, this is the guy we need to draw. If we drew that guy, I feel I like everything a whole lot better. We'll just throw the sword on our creature, try to keep it alive, untap with it for next turn. Gives us a little bit of blocking if someone wants to come at us. Interestingly, this is a little bit of a non-bo, I think. Yeah, so you play the cards from exile, which means they won't trigger the Sunbird's Invocation. I will say that this is one I haven't got to take an extensive look at yet. I did buy a couple in paper, but I also haven't been playing in paper that much either. I think they're like $5 now, which is really cheap. I mean, that's like as low as Swords of X and Y get. So, if you think you might need one in the future, I would pick up a copy or two. Hashtag not financial advice. But the situation we're in now is actually a really good situation for this sword. We have a ton of mana and not a whole lot to do with it. So this is the time, right? So in the absence of mana, this sword can get a little rough. And like on turn 2, turn 3, this is not the sword you want. In our case, we've ramped so much that this is actually a reasonable situation. We do have to hope to untap with all this stuff and then find a way into someone somewhere. Hedron Archive down. Yeah, I'm not loving that. At least they didn't shoot the sword. I'd like to like see the sword a few times. And Rolling Earthquake X3, we have Pro Red. Our stuff survives. Love it. They did cut down our mana a little bit, so that'll make everything a little bit less wild, and this was a really nice backup. How long's the sword been out? I mean, it's probably been at least 6 months, if not a year. Barely gotten to use it. I know what Hedron Archive does. It's obviously a good card. Though some other content creators might disagree. Nah, man, I run Hedron Archive in almost every deck. And like, and not necessarily because it's like the strongest, bestest card ever, but for a long time, I don't know where they're at right now, but they were really cheap. So like, I definitely couldn't afford a Thran Dynamo in every deck, but I could afford a Hedron Archive in every deck. They were like 25 cents. So, you know, if you needed budget Thran Dynamo at home, Hedron Archive is your friend. Now, Thran Dynamo is really cheap right now. I would go pick up some of those. Hashtag not financial advice. Cosmic Rebirth, what's this thing do? Choose target permanent card in your graveyard. If it has mana value 3 or less, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't put it onto the battlefield, put it in your hand. That's a cool card. What set is this even out of? It looks like it's a Kaldheim card, but oh god. Doom Foretold. I'm sure I'm not going to like this. The beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-land, non-token permanent. If that player can't, they discard a card, they lose 2 life, and a whole bunch of things happen. That player can't, they discard a card, you gain 2 life, they lose 2 life, and then you make a knight and draw 2 life. Oh yeah, that all sounds ridiculous. So that'll probably be the Signet getting rid of for us. That is definitely a target worth shooting, though. Not that we have removal, but if someone else does. So far in like the 3 or 4 games that I've played with this deck, the problem that I'm noticing is the drawing the wrong half of the deck problem. It never seems like I can like find the things that I need when I need them. And also like the removal problem is like, you know, they shot the Hedron Archive and like, believe it or not, I mean, this is going to matter in the course of this game. At least I think it will. As mundane as a Hedron Archive is, we were going to need both the mana and the cards that was going to provide. Well, unfortunately, this wall is colorless, so we can't... Was planning to swing in over here, but I'm probably just going to have to poke Asgard. Really? Yep, just crushed. There's an austere command. The sword's going to stick around, but not much else will. Are these all enchantment creatures? Oh, that's going to get a lot of that stuff. Okay. We really needed another turn with that Sunbirds, though. The whiff on the one is painful. We'll have exactly enough to cast and equip Otharri and get a sword trigger, but then the problem is we can play a land off sword trigger, but we can't really cast additional cards. Ugh. Yeah, that's the problem with this deck, too. This deck does not respond well to removal. That tends to happen when you play weak decks. When you play weak decks, you need a lot of permanents in play. It's much more difficult to win the game by having to maintain a lot of permanents in play versus, the classic, I mean, Sun Titan's the classic example, right? Like, Sun Titan can, like, more or less win you the game kind of on its own. It's big, and you find an equipment, and basically, if you throw a Luxodon Warhammer on a Sun Titan, you're going to get value, you're going to gain a lot of life, and you're going to get a lot of damage in, right? Like, it might not outright win you the game, but it'll probably do most of the heavy lifting for you. Phoenixes don't do that. That's not what they do. You need, like, 8 of them. Ugh, austere command. Really? Alright, cast Otharri. At least everyone kind of got hit here. There's some planeswalkers out here, but at least there was not, like, protection spells and stuff that made it particularly lopsided. At least for us, we had, like, we were fairly diversified in our permanent types on board, so even though we lost things that I really like, we're not left with completely nothing, so that's good. Yeah, I'm going to send this into Firemaker, because that deck scares me. I do believe we get some attacking thingies, which, how big is this? That's a 5, that's a 5. When is his ultimate? Yeah, we can start attacking down some planeswalkers, I think. Let's hit that a Johnny Steadfast. I've seen that one ultimate. I want to make sure that stays off the ultimate. Basically going to be impossible for us to win if that ultimate goes off. 2 lands would probably be the most ideal right here. 2 creatures would feel terrible. 2 lands it is. I get a Myriad Landscape. Oh, can you play both? Oh, we haven't played a land yet. Play both. Yeah, there we go. All right. Sword of Fortune Frontier, doing some work. And now, hopefully, we're set up to, like, draw a Phoenix off the top. We could be living the dream here in a minute. Also, I didn't want to run that True Conviction down here because, you know, especially after the Sunbirds, like, Sunbirds is already demanding of enchantment removal. Kogla, we've got Pro Red. They can swing back at us if they want. Yeah, they're going Trample and Haste. Maybe thinking about trying to take down another Planeswalker. We should take a look at what our opponents are playing today. Kogla and Yidaro is being piloted by Asgard Iron. And, you know, sad to say, I didn't get to play a lot of this set. They're coming our way. That's unfortunate. But I really like the flavor. I love the flavor of the team-up stuff. I love the battles. All cool stuff. I still want to make the battle deck. Haven't gotten around to that. Haven't really figured out, like, how to not make it take 100 turns for that deck to do anything. Sort of a concern with that one. Perhaps a place for the Phoenixes because they're cheap and annoying and can attack things. And, like, actually, the thing I was thinking about, so, like, Unblockable is sort of going to be the name of the game with that deck. And various forms of Unblockable, like the 3-mana Phoenixes, which I've been trying to use a lot. But also the Shadow cards and, like, the Saltaries and stuff. I think those could be interesting. Do, like, a Shadow Tribal. The Cruelty of Gix. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a creature card or planeswalker from it. That player discards that card. Search your library for a card. Put it in your hand. Lose 3 life. Put target creature card from graveyard onto the battlefield. Yeah, those are 3 pretty good modes. Pretty good modes. They're going after Xeno. Love it. We're down to 2 cards. We don't look very threatening. Oh, yeah. Board wipe and Deep Glow. Ooh, Deep Glow Skate. I mean, you got to get rid of the Deep Glow Skate. Yeah, it's just too strong, right? That's... You can ultimate one of these planeswalkers. Well, I guess that one. Love it. Love it. Yeah, getting these planeswalkers off the battlefield is going to be a great idea. Dawn of a New Age. Enters the battlefield with a hope counter for each creature you control at the beginning of your end step. Remove a hope counter. If you do, draw a card. Then it has no hope counts on it. Sacrifice it and gain 4 life. Interesting card. Continuing on our opponents, in the middle we've got Firemaker 282, piloting Narci Fable Stinger. We've seen this one in the past. 4-mana 3/3 lifelink. Whenever you sacrifice an enchantment, draw a card. Whenever the final chapter of a saga you control resolves, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that saga's mana value. It's a very interesting deck, so you can build it fairly enchantressy, but it is a saga tribal commander, and once the life loss starts kicking in, like, mass life loss is scary in basically all situations because, you know, whatever that number is, multiply it by 3 essentially, right? Because each player is taking that much, so it does get out of hand pretty quickly. That's a Narset Parter of the Veils. That one makes me nervous. Silent Arbiter, no. Ugh. Well, our tokens will get around that, which is nice. A lot of stacks over there. Yeah, Xeno's going to be our target now. Ooh, and they're drawing cards? Up to 5 cards. Yeah, I was hoping to avoid that, but I really didn't want this thing to get to ultimate range. And I know it was still a few turns away, but that's the type of thing you got to plan ahead with on the Planeswalkers. You don't want to see them, like, on 6 or 7. You're like, oh, God. Especially there's so much proliferate now. You can make up a few loyalty counters in a turn very easily these days. Land is not what we were looking for. So I guess we go on the attack. Send this one into Xeno. We get a trigger. This time we'll get 2 creatures. Oh my god, I just remember we have Hall of Helios Generosity. Oh, we could have did that this turn, but set a stop on our next upkeep to remember to do that. Or we can do it at the end step also, I guess. So we get 2 tokens. Let's put 1 on the Narset. Do we chance leaving the Narset? Let's take down their commander. I know they can recast it, but they don't have that much mana. So the tempo cost of doing that, I think, is good. Luckily, we do have lifelink on our commander, so, you know, we took that hit for 7. We can gain some back here just so we don't have to be on super low life. Opponent can block 1. Yeah, so the 1 will survive. But Sword of Fortune Frontier trigger. Yes, please. This time we've got all of our open mana, so 2 non-creatures, creature and a land, anything like that. All seems good. A Chroma's Will and a Soul Ring is not how you draw that up. Wiping the board again doesn't really seem to, like, further our plans. Play land. Cast the Soul Ring. Yeah, just, like, completely the wrong half of this deck. Just all game. All game. I mean, we should, like, cast it to not lose it. I am going to crack this Myriad Landscape. Just do that right now and get it out of the way. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Is there an Emeria in this deck? There isn't an Emeria. We'll get plans. Because we could have gone a Chroma's Will and creatures to get rid of the Silent Arbiter. Still have 8 mana. Yeah, definitely not enough to do both. Could have did both if we didn't crack the thing, but I don't know. Do we just let this go, or do we at least try to cast it? Let's just cast it so it's at least not an exile. And then we'll look to Hall of Heliod's Generosity, Sunbird's Invocation back to the top. Opponent's going to Cathartic Pyre, discard 2 cards, and draw that many cards. Rhythm of the Wild. Yeah, that is a problem with Impulse Draw. So your timing effects are not great with Impulse Draw. Ripping it to Fairy's Protection with either like a Forge and Frontier or what are the Showdown of the Skulls, Ignite the Future, that type of stuff, always feels bad. I need like a Phoenix Storm type card, like similar to Dragon Storm, where I can cast a single card and then go get a bunch of crappy Phoenixes out of the deck and put them into play. That's what I need. Really? Coming back at us? Well, we're going to block with a 2/2, soak up a little. Bro, there's so many Planeswalkers out there. What'll be interesting here is there's still that Blasphemous Act in hand, and we're getting to a point where, like, well, I guess the Silent Arbiter is still out, but you have to start thinking about the Otharri and the number of tokens that it will create. Does that have trample? Oh, it doesn't have trample all the time? Okay. Yeah, we can trade in a token. That's fine. Totally fine trading in a token. That's a tutor. Those are never good. Firemaker was asking why I didn't kill the Narset. And, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered either way, because we wouldn't have had enough damage, because they could still block one. But, well, we need the sword triggers more than anything. But they're more likely to draw than we are, and Narset stops that. So I'm like, I'm having a real tough debate about whether I want this Narset in play or not. It's all fun and games until a wheel happens, but up until that point, it might be stopping everyone else's card draw, because, like, you know, if the green deck decides to draw 7, that's always scary. The Enchantress decks tend to draw a lot as well. So I'll let them deal with the Narset, because it's not hurting us that much right now. Though you got to be mindful of the combos. Those can beat you. Onyxthea, Hand of Erebos. Menace. Other enchantment creatures you control have Menace. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 2 target non-aura cards from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie. Weird. Doom Foretold. What does this do? Doom Foretold. Doom Foretold is a 3/3 black creature now. Okie dokie. Yeah, I wonder if this triggers the Blasphemous Act in opponent's hand. There must be a better way to build this deck where I'm able to, like, feel the Phoenixes. Similar to how I did that Aurelia 10 Sword game, where the problem with Aurelia 10 Swords is that if you just try to, like, cast them and put them on Aurelia, you will kill everyone at the table by the time you're at, like, 3 or 4 swords, right? So you have to do it, like, all at once, and I wonder if there's a way to kind of do, like, an all-at-once style, like, mill your deck and then, like, bring a bunch of stuff back, doing that whole game. Actually, maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the way. Because, well, now the problem is that there's 2 Mass Reanimate cards that are not on Magic Online and Mono White, which is a problem. If they were available, you could start thinking about something like that and just wheel and loot into oblivion until you find Ascend from Avernus and Storm of Souls, and then just dig up your entire graveyard, and that sounds like a good time. That's probably a much more efficient way to get everything into play. Now, that's like a more fragile game plan. If it gets interrupted at all, you can have a bad time, but this is the more value, kind of straight-laced game plan of just, like, play some Phoenixes, try to attack, get some value. Silent Arbiter coming our way. Man, everyone hates us. At least we're gaining life. I hope we have the yeah, we should have the mana to go True Conviction and Sunbirds. Opponent's got a trigger here at the end step. We're going to make sure this doesn't affect us. That has loyalty counters. Okay. Put Sunbird's Invocation back on top. Doom Foretold. Getting rid of Borrow Signet. Draw the Sunbirds. Cast the Sunbirds. Cast a True Conviction. 3 non-Phoenixes. Wonderful. Reconnaissance for the blockers? Maybe? I think Reconnaissance for the blocking. That's why you run it. That does animate Iroas, which is fantastic, but sadly only 1 creature can attack. Still. Oh, Jesus, that thing's on 7. That being the case, yeah, we're not going to mess around with that. Yeah, we got to get that out of here. Would I like another sword trigger? Yes, absolutely, but very much need these dead. That'd actually be 2 sword triggers, but we don't have a lot of mana, so again, we're just prone to, like, exile stuff. Oh, right, I got to do the thing. I got to do the thing. Set a stop. Nope, this is where we need to set stop. Set stop. It's not that often that you use the end combat step, so I don't have a stop set for it. Planeswalkers down. Nice. Get to the end step and start untapping stuff. Pseudo Vigilance. Pass like that. Also, we're back up to 41. We would have gained more life if we spread those attacks out. I kind of forgot about the double strike a little bit, to be completely honest, but I just really wanted to make sure. Planeswalkers snowball like crazy. Like, once there's like 2 or 3 of them like that, it can be really tough, and it seems like everyone wants to keep attacking us, and I get it now. Now we're starting to be threatening. Like a turn or so ago, yeah, I mean, they could probably see what was about to happen, but yeah, there was a turn in there where I felt like one of these attacks could have went at one of the Planeswalkers. So, based on how opponents are kind of reading the game, we still have one opponent to introduce. That's Illegal Xeno, piloting Commodore Guff. Is a 4-mana Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. At the beginning of your end step, put a loyalty counter on another target Planeswalker you control. Create a wizard with tap to add red, only to cast a Planeswalker spell, and you may draw X cards and do X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of Planeswalkers you control. Yeah, that's a Super Friends deck if there was ever a Super Friends commander, right? Like, you just don't want that sort of thing getting out of hand. I almost wonder if, like, who's it? Queen Kayla? What's her name? Queen Kayla Bin Krug. It's kind of she's very, like, wheel-centric kind of commander. And I wonder if she would be better now. There's only so many good 3-mana Phoenixes. Like, there aren't tons and tons of them. So you'd sort of lose access to all the other ones. I don't know. Because, like, right now, what's happening is exactly what I was trying to avoid with this deck. Which is that it's just Otharri doing everything. It's like Otharri and the sword and some enchantments. Like, and I guess we've, like, literally not drawn a Phoenix in the deck. And we've drawn some extra cards, too, right? Like, we've hit with Sunbirds a few times and Impulse with Forge and Frontier, which is all very frustrating. Yeah, this is going to do the thing again. Make another copy of something. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of triggers. Opponent's going to get a creature, search for a card, and then do the discard thing again. Let's see who they're targeting. They're going to target us with the discard, so they'll get our Austere Command. Oh, it's only creatures and Planeswalkers. Cannot hit the Austere Command. Another tutor, though. That's scary. Apparently there's a bug with read ahead. I think all of that wasn't supposed to go off at the same time. Sacrifice an enchantment, draws a card. We start losing life. Yep. God, lifelink on the commander, so good. How has it been this long to have a Boros commander with lifelink? There's what, literally... When did Otharri get printed? About a year ago? At the point Otharri got printed, there were probably about 48 other Boros commanders, and I don't think a single one of them had lifelink. There's probably at least 5 or 6 more by now. I haven't been keeping up on everything as closely as I was. At one point, I was trying to play them all. I got to like 39 out of 48, I think, is where I was at for a little while. It was like mostly the ones that are only in paper. And then there were a couple, like, at some point I've played all the really bad ones that you just don't want to play, like Razia, like, what's his name, Agris Kos. Those decks were not a fun time. I've gotten through most of that stuff, but deploy the Gatewatch. Yeah, so we need that for Phoenixes. That's what we need. But yeah, it was a lot of the stuff that wasn't printed online. There were a few that I missed, and like there were some that hadn't been printed yet, or yeah, just things that only existed in paper or were bugged or whatever case happened to be. Made some of them pretty difficult. The Wanderer is probably going to start exiling our stuff. This is a really good Planeswalker. I've been trying to, when I can, I try to sneak this into decks more. Yeah, this one's really, really solid. Exile, going for our commanders. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Back to the command zone. I think that shuts off Iroas too. 3, 4, 5, 6. No, Iroas is still good. That's good news. We can still suit up Iroas and get a lot done with that. There's Blasphemous Act. That'll clean up a lot of stuff. That will kill the Silent Arbiter. Destroy... Oh, hey, gonna destroy the Silent Arbiter. Love it. I mean, that was gonna die anyway because it was a creature. But that's fine. Yeah, Iroas is still alive and still a creature. That's amazing. I mean, now there's an empty board. We have some really nice setup pieces, and like, I am very hopeful that we might get to see some Phoenixes other than Otharri this turn. Very, very hopeful. For a removal heavy game, we've come out surprisingly okay. Ooh, a brought back. Okay. Okay. Spicy. Card I've probably under-evaluated just a little bit. Could probably run it just a touch more than I do. Dawn of a New Age. Brings it back to our turn. Love to draw something. A Phoenix! We drew a Phoenix! We get to cast a Phoenix, and it's got haste and flying and all the good stuff. Let's do it. Trigger the Sunbird's Invocation. Show me another Phoenix. Oh, there's the Teferis. Show me a Showdown of the Scalds. Showdown of the Scalds probably gets us to more Phoenixes. Showdown of the Scalds got us a lot of Phoenixes, is what it did. Yeah, they're all bunched up right here. This isn't how you draw it up. This is not how you draw it up. So definitely get the Ruby Medallion. You know, the thing... We might leave these in exile. We'll see. Let's equip the sword. What is that? So that's 9. That'll be 18. Oh, that's so much damage. I'm going to put the sword on the Phoenix because it is the Phoenix deck. I know we should put it on the Iroas. Iroas will probably get exiled from the Wanderer, so that's a thing at some point. Do any of these have haste? They do have haste, and we have double strike. Okay, that's the thing to think about. How much mana is left? We have... Well, we have cost reduction, so we can get this one for double red. That one doesn't have haste. This one doesn't have haste. Let's get this one with haste. Seems like a low opportunity cost right here. Cost reduction, yeah. And let's do some attacking. Finally getting to see some Phoenixes. All right, who's getting this Iroas? I think the Planeswalker deck is going to get the Iroas. I mean, we could just drop them. What turn is it? Turn 9. I think we drop them. I don't think anything good is coming from us leaving them at the table. They've gotten to do some stuff. They've been kind of a headache for us, so... Sword trigger. Lands. I'll take lands. Down they go. Yeah, it's a big strike. Big strike from us. Into Enlightened Tutor and Swords to Plowshares. Next thing we need to do is untap our stuffs so we don't get blasted. You don't know how satisfying it was to finally rip a Phoenix and then put a sword on it and have them all have double strike and lifelink and kill a player. Things have not gone this well at any of the points that I've tried to play this deck, so this is very exciting. We have 2 white mana left. Actually, should have more mana here in a second. Go to our main phase. Get both lands. Get the Flamekin Village. Get the Sacred Foundry. Oh, no, we don't have any elementals. Get the Sacred Foundry. Up to 62 life. I think we can afford to pay the life. Let's go ahead and do that. What do we want as swords? We can get rid of the Commander. I think we can get rid of this Anacathea thing. This thing seems kind of nasty and seems like a engine within the deck. So let's get rid of that. Then we will Enlighten Tutor. See if there's something fun we can put on top of our deck. Questions. Cathar's Crusade. Yeah, we could do the Cathar's Crusade thing. Cathar's Crusade Otharri would end the game. For sure. So the question is, do we try to do that, or do we try to draw more Phoenixes? That is the question. Well, we have 2 more Phoenixes ready to go. They don't have haste, sadly. God, as a creature type, these things just need so much help. I say we slow roll it. I'm going to go Fighter. Do we have anything we can Skull Clamp? Nah, I'll just get the Cathar's Crusade. Pass like that. I played too nice in a game recently, and that got me killed. Opponents are definitely plotting against us. Sounds like they have something for the True Conviction, so I don't think that's going to be long for this world. Kogla coming back. Gonna fight the Phoenix of Ash. What do we need for this one? This one is Escape 4, exile 3 other cards. Okay. Phoenix of Ash going down. Iroas with, like, True Conviction and Vigilance is hilarious. Because it's just, like, so big and nothing can attack into it. Yeah, there's a Seal of Doom. That's definitely going to get our, probably the True Conviction. They can actually hold it, just to make sure that we don't do anything, like, wild. Oh, no. So we're going to have to move the sword. If we want to pump the Phoenix, we're going to have to move the sword off of him. Because this is pro-red, and this is red. We do have a cool thing set up here, though. So we're going to be on mode 2 of the Showdown of the Scalds, which means whenever we cast stuff, it'll get bigger. And is it Care from Hand? No, it's any spell. And this casts spells, so potentially we can get like a lot of counters here. In addition to the Cathar's Crusade, which also gets more counters. And this is going to be an exciting turn. It's going to be a real exciting turn. Brings it back to our turn. Phoenix time. We go to mode 2 on the Showdown like we talked about. We draw the Cathars. Whoa, what's the correct sequence to do these? I mean, yeah, Cathars first and then everything else, I guess. Yeah, Cathars first. Be very smart about our mana colors here. Be a lot of red pips. Oh, crap, I forgot to move the sword. Yep. So we can pump the Iroas. I did mean to pump the Phoenix. Ah, another Phoenix. This one have haste. The Mask of Memory is kind of tempting, but give me the Phoenix. Just give me the Phoenix. We have a Flamekin Village, is what we have. I'm not going to move the sword just because I have mana concerns. I don't want to run out of mana this turn. We'll pump this Phoenix, though. We're doing things. We're doing things. I should read this one. What's this one do? When it dies, 3 damage to each creature and each player. We got to be careful with that one. We might wait on that one because that one does give them an opportunity to kind of blow up all of our stuff. Well, I guess they're all 4s now. Yeah, run it out there. No, if we do that, though, then we can't haste the 1. Let's haste the 1. 6/4, 5/4. Give me haste on this Phoenix. Use the thing. This one has haste. That's 4 to escape. Yeah, that's kind of rough. Yeah, let's go to combat. Send them. They almost undoubtedly shoot the True Conviction. Okay, Beast Within for the True Conviction. 1 down. Funny enough, that triggers the Cathar's Crusade, which will pump the creatures more. Okie dokie. They could have just used this. I may have held that Beast Within for the Seal. Oh, Seal of Doom shoots creatures, which they're then going to use on our Akum Firebird, which makes me very sad. So we're not going to get a sword trigger right here, like I was hoping on. What's this one? So this one's Landfall, pay 6. We have another one in there that's Escape, pay a bunch. So, like, we can get some back next turn. Yeah, still a chunk of damage, though. They could double block 1, I think. Cosmic Rebirth. Choose target permanent. Oh, God. Yeah, this is... I mean, this is why I'm attacking them, because I was worried about stuff like this. But, yep, Seal of Doom, bring it back, shoot another one. Yep, another Phoenix down. Yeah, they slowed us down pretty good. I mean, it would have been, like, straight up lethal on them otherwise, but... we do need to untap our guy. Our God of Victory. Go ahead and do that. And then we cast another Phoenix. And we'll pump this Phoenix. That was still a cool turn. Like, yeah, we didn't kill the player, but we got to do a lot of cool things. A lot of cool interactions. I've never really seen the showdown mixed with the Sunbirds thing before. That's kind of fun. Plus having a bunch of things impulsed from the showdown. That was all some cool stuff. Regardless of what happens, I enjoyed that turn. Finally got to see some Phoenix action. As long as we don't die to anything here, we should get another chance at it next turn too. Bring some more back. Finally, so like, the thing is, you need the game to go late to really be able to use these recursive abilities, and the game's gone pretty late now. So, theoretically, can actually use some of these. How does this one come back? Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you may pay 2 and return it. Okay. That's going to be a tough one. That's a real tough one. Opponent appears to be out of juice over there. Oh no, opponent didn't cast anything. We don't have any mana up. No. Oh, that means though it should flip back on our side. Doesn't exile or anything, right? Yeah, so that means that if opponent casts, what do they need to cast 2 spells, I think? Is that how this works? I knew how this worked in original Innistrad, but once they did this like day-bound, night-bound thing, I think it's the same, but I just get very confused now. So confused. There's a Soul Ring. Just want to see maximum Phoenixes. I'm excited too, because I've got to see a lot of the ones that I like and are exciting to me. The 5 and 6 mana ones are pretty terrible and just in there to kind of fill out the deck slots. I should look, because it's been a while since I've actually looked at this deck to see if there's any new creatures for it that might help that would be better than the old ones. War of the Last Alliance is a really powerful card. Are there any legendary Phoenixes? That's a way to get 2. I don't know. I think Otharri. Otharri and the red-black one, the only ones I can think of. Sithis. Yeah, that's a strong card. Oh, I'm excited about this. I was excited about last turn. I'm even more excited about this turn, because as long as nothing crazy happens, we're going to get to reanimate all those Phoenixes. Binding of the Old Gods. Don't exile graveyards, whatever this does. Destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls. Okay, what are we going for? Shooting. Sunbirds probably... Sunburns and Cathars are both very strong. Yeah, Cathars. Both can beat you in this moment. Cathars is a little more immediate in that everything is giant. Oh, you want what's also interesting? Is that we can put Showdown of the Skalds back on top of our deck. That's also very spicy. All right, it's going to be 6 mana for the one. It's going to be 8 mana for the other, for both of them. And then 12 mana to get all 3 of these Phoenixes back. How much mana do we have? 13, 14. 2 left over. So I think we're 1 short of the... We can wait a turn on the Showdown of the Skalds ability. Or on the putting the thing back on top. Man, Hall of Heliod's Generosity. So good. Forget how good this card is. And I just threw it in here because I knew there were some random enchantments and they might die, right? Like, we kind of need them in this deck. So getting them back, very important. That's an interaction, though. Hall with Showdown. Just lots of card draw. Yeah, it flips back. So we can get this Phoenix back. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Oh, it does come in tap, though. That makes me sad. We need a land for the other one. Crap. Well, we drew another Phoenix. Alrighty. Cast this Phoenix. Keep pumping Phoenixes. Ooh, what does Savines do for us? Savines can get us a land to get us another Phoenix. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Let's get a Marsh Flats. I mean, we should 100% be getting the Skull Clamp, but that's not what we're doing today. Choose target creature. Oh yeah, we got to pump a thing. Pump this guy. This turn is turning into a beautiful symphony of Phoenixes. I haven't filmed in, God, probably 3 weeks at least, because I've been sick, dealing with everything, and this is an absolutely magical game to come back to. Oh, yeah, there's the Akum Firebird. Okay, now we got to pay for him. Yep. Okay. Where'd all the mana go? One, two. Yeah, okay, a couple remaining. Do that and that. Yes. And then we should have enough to escape this guy. Do any of these... Yeah, they all have haste. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, just tap it all out. Who cares about the sword? Give me another Phoenix. Oh, we gotta exile some stuff. What are we getting rid of? Gold Knight Command. Huge Archive will be okay without at this point. Signet will be okay. And Enlightened Tutor, I guess. Keep pumping Phoenixes. How much mana? We only have 1 mana left. That's unfortunate. Go to combat. Send it. I'm happy that we were able to reach this board state. This is what I was thinking when I originally put the deck together. It's only taken 11 turns and had to survive a lot of removal and have like a fairly Christmas-landy hand, a lot of ramp. It was awkward, but we ramped really well. So, you know, you can climb out of holes when you ramp really well. Opponent's going to try to block the big one. Yep. No trample on Iros, sadly. Oh, they survive at 3? Does this one hit players? Where's that one that blows up and hits players? Does it hit players? 3 damage each creature and each player. So if this dies for any reason, they die. Excellent. Sort of an insurance plan. We don't have like a sack outlet right now, but untap our team. I might be happier just running like actual vigilance because it's less clicking. In paper, this would be fine, but Magic Online trying to get through this reconnaissance, not the most fun. I really want to be able to run Sarah's Blessing in a deck. It's just a 2-mana enchantment that gives vigilance, but like it's just outclassed by so many things now. There are so many creatures that just give team vigilance that you wouldn't ever run that enchantment anymore. I have the giggles. That's how you know I'm enjoying this. Overwhelming Stampede. It's gonna get big. 14-14 trample. Yeah, swing in as hard as you can. They have 1 card left in hand, so I'm actually gonna overblock a little bit. You know, if they have like another double power kind of thing, that would actually could be a thing. So want to make sure we soak up most of this. 14-14. That one's kind of big. If we block with this one, it will kick. Yeah, we'll do this just for the kicks. Block with that one. We'll kill a couple of our Phoenixes, but hopefully we can get them back. Yeah, we've got a land for that one, and we can pay to attack with that one. Last card is a Heroic Intervention. That's interesting. This is actually going to kill like a lot of our stuff. It's going to be worth it, though, to get a player kill with this Magma Phoenix. Kaboom! Down they go to the Magma Phoenix. Oh my god, we lost so many things. You know, questionable whether that was worth it, but it was worth it to me. But the good news is, bring it back to our turn. I think we're okay without Showdown. Let's see, we're going to get 6 for the thing. If we can attack with 3 creatures... Can we attack with 3 creatures? So that one I'll have haste. What's this one? This one we have to escape again. Yeah, no Showdown. Do we Showdown? Showdown will take, what, 6, 7 mana? Something like that. With the potential to... Oh, we have cost reduction. Okay, yeah, let's get the Showdown back. I want to do this too just because it's kind of cool. And we might get to see more Phoenixes. There's the Showdown. Cast the Showdown. Sunbird's Invocation. Oh yeah, also that. Ignite the Future. Sure. Got them both. I was having a card draw issue with this deck. Now we're just drawing so many cards. So many cards. We can do it again if we want to, but we'll go for the Phoenix. No value in that Jessica's Will. Let's get a Chandra's Phoenix. Wow, no lands and all of that. Herald's Horn, maybe? I don't even know what's associated to what anymore. This one's got haste. Let's get that one. And then I guess Herald Horns for the funsies. We'll skip the Herald Horn. Let's get this idol level. We'll just equip the sword. Equip the sword. Give us more damage. Just 20? I don't even know. I haven't been counting. It might be. That one's kind of big. Send it. Oh, right. I forgot to leave mana up for him. Crap. Well, whoops. And we got there. Oh, that was so satisfying. I thought this was going to be another game where we just like drew no Phoenixes and did nothing and everything was going to be terrible. And then we finally got to see everything on display at the end. It was amazing. So this is kind of how I drew it up. This is what I was hoping would happen. We'd have some powerful enchantments out, particularly Sunbirds, which, like, you know, I've always talked about this with tribal decks. You need to turn 1 creature into 2. Right? So, you know, anything you cast turns into 2 spells. Fantastic. We had the pumps off of Cathar's Crusade and Showdown of the Scalds. Showdown of the Scalds really performed well this game. I mean, we got this thing got pumped mostly off the Showdown. There was probably a couple Cathar's points in there. Yeah, Cathar's is always strong too, but Yeah, so my question is, like, how do I get to this board state sooner, right? Because it's like, it's a lot of stuff that you need to make all this work. And is there a way to kind of set up these conditions much quicker into the game? There was a good amount of removal from opponents, at least 2 board wipes that I can remember, and they cleaned everyone out. Like, no one got out of it with a protection spell, so, you know, it really stalled the game, which is kind of what we want when you have a deck that's, like, slow and not the best. So, you know, I mean, it's like, do you play it as a control deck? I don't really know how well that's going to work. It's tough because you want a lot of Phoenixes, but the things that those Phoenixes need are also pretty demanding. You know, maybe the thing is, like, maybe you just cut all the 5 and 6 drop ones and really try to keep the curve low so you can run, like, a little bit less ramp. You don't have to get, like, super carried away with the ramp, which will free up some slots for some other stuff. Maybe you try to keep it, like, more low curve, aggressive kind of thing. And, you know, I think the equipment are really a good selling point with them, right? Because they're all flying, so they're cheap flying and haste. They're just easy to kind of, like, keep coming in and pestering people, and if you're getting value off your hits, that's a good thing. It's a matter of how long can you value, can you keep yourself alive long enough to, like, get to the finisher and do all that. I don't know that I significantly answered any of the questions that I have about the deck in this game, but at least I know that it's possible to have success with this deck and actually kind of get a board state full of Phoenixes. So that was very exciting. The question is how to, like, refine that and make it more consistent and maybe make it a little quicker to kind of get all these guys out there and, you know, just pester people to death with 2/2s in the air. But I really enjoyed that game. I had a blast. Finally kind of got to do the thing with it, and it was very exciting. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel, vote on which decks I play next, or if you want to get some good games of Spell Table, be sure to check out my Patreon at the link below.